Hello and welcome. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Lena.
And this is
Pass Me the Booze, a paranormal podcast where we discuss the history and hauntings of local and not so local places while partaking in adult beverages.
In each episode, we share a different haunted place and pair it with a drink.
This week,
Hopewell Furnace,
St. Peter's Village,
Free Love Valley,
aka North Coventry.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Welcome.
We've got a drink for you today.
Don't we ever. So this episode, I guess, is a little different.
Yes.
I would say a cocktail of content. So now we have a cocktail for you. That was terrible.
That was a horrible pun, but I appreciate you.
Okay.
I appreciate you. So we have 3 different locations that we are going to be visiting today.
Mm-hmm.
The first of which is Hopewell Furnace.
And then St. Peter's Village.
And we are closing out with my personal favorite and the link to our cocktail drink tonight, Free Love Valley, aka North Coventry.
I know I say I'm excited for this episode like every episode, but I'm very excited for this episode.
Yeah, because, again, not to pinpoint our location, but
Again.
we are really close to where we grew up.
Uncomfortably close.
Uncomfortably close. So we'll get into that. Our cocktail for the night, or for this episode, is called the Free Love Cocktail. Club style. I'm not sure what the difference is, but it is club style.
We're learning today.
We are learning a lot today. So the recipe is, and we're doubling everything because this only makes 1 drink.
Mm-hmm.
But the recipe is half of an egg white, 3 dashes of Anisette.
Anisette?
Anisette.
It's basically absinthe cousin.
Yeah.
That's what I've concluded.
A shot and a half of gin. We are going to be using a local favorite, Faber, and 1 pony of fresh cream.
Oh my god. This took me forever to find out what the fuck a pony of fresh cream was.
I had no fucking clue.
That was a journey, let me tell you.
Oh.
Because most of the results that came up when I tried to Google pony fresh cream, I thought it was a brand or something of cream. But the only thing that came up was My Little Pony
cakes.
Ice cream cake.
Yeah.
Which in of itself is great. I'm glad that those exist. But I found out that a pony of something in bar speak is old-timey bar speak for a shot.
I really, really like how the recipe says, technically, all right, so it says a jigger, but I don't like that word because it sounds like other things, and I have a speech impediment sometimes.
And as white people, we want to try to stay far, far away from
any word that looks like that and sounds like that.
From any kind of phrasing.
Yeah.
So what should we call it? Should we come up with a new name? What's in between a pony and a horse? A donkey?
A donkey.
Let's call it a donkey.
It's a donkey. So you're going to use 1 donkey of gin. So, one thing I do know, because we are using egg whites.
Ew.
Whenever you use raw egg in a drink that you are making, you're going to want to dry shake it first, which means you do not add ice to the shaker before you shake it a little bit. Because I don't know what it'll do to the egg, but when I was reading about what to do with egg in drinks, it just all sounded really bad if you put the ice in first. So
I'm gonna take your word for it.
It wasn't looking great. So I guess I'm gonna just very carefully. We're gonna have adventures. That was a lot of egg white. Oh
wow.
No.
That's excessive.
That was a lot. That was so much. I don't know if I like that. I have egg hands.
Oh dear.
We didn't think this through.
Here, you can use this tote Walmart bag.
I love it. The Vision Center at Walmart. Thank you.
You're
for
welcome.
That. All right. So the egg white is in.
It's in.
It's in.
Do you want to double it up or like do
No,
half of
because
this one?
I used a full egg white because I'm making double everything.
Yes.
The recipe calls for half an egg white.
You're right.
So sorry. That was the gin and the table. I'm not sure how you would separate what we have in the shaker right now. But I'll leave that up to how you guys ever just double it up.
If there's an easier way to make this, or if you guys make it, let us know.
Yeah. And most of it made it into the shaker, I just want to say.
Oh my god.
So, that's a smell.
Would you like me to get some paper towels?
I think we need paper towels.
I will be right back.
Oh man. But wait, before you do, I want you to smell this.
Okay. Oh,
We're gonna drink that.
that's gonna hurt my liver, I guess. Cue the intermission music.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Alright, so I've made a mess. So when you dry shake, you want to be careful about how tight you make the seal on the shaker, because the ice in the shaker is what kind of seals it all together. And I forgot that and shook the shaker. And we have experienced what that's like when you don't follow simple, basic instructions in science.
I'm back.
You'll enjoy my little spiel
Oh boy.
about why dry shaking is dangerous later. Alright, so actually, you know what? That doesn't look as horrendous as I thought it would.
It doesn't look terrible.
I think that you really made a great call with the cookies and creamer, though.
That's the part I'm most excited about.
First, we gotta get a picture for the gram.
For the gram.
It looks like
Come
a penis.
on, that's wonderful.
If you can find the penis, let us know.
It's not that hard to find. I'll see myself out.
Alright, let's try it.
Alright.
Alright, Slancha?
Cheer. Actually,
I'm not disappointed in that, as like I thought I would.
it tastes like a milkshake.
It kind of tastes like a mudslide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cookies and cream you can definitely taste. It's definitely helping.
Yeah, the cookies and cream really, I think, you might have saved the day with that one.
Whew.
So when you make this, please look for Chobani coffee creamer, cookies and cream flavored, and you'll thank us later.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Woo! Yes.
It's definitely strong.
Oh my goodness.
I will say that. Very strong drink.
Yeah, it is.
As always, drink responsibly, but get fucked up.
Let's get weird.
All right, so let me pull up my notes. As always, I will start off with the history portion. And then my partner in crime here will tell us the spooky stuff.
Do we want to do like
Back and forth?
Yeah, like you do Hopewell history and then I'll do Hopewell spooky stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, Hopewell Furnace operated from 1771 to 1883. It's a strong drink, guys. And Hopewell was one of the furnaces that kind of paved the way for the United States to become the industrial giant that they did in the Industrial Age.
What did the furnaces do? I'm sure you'll get to that. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself.
So, it started by creating pig iron. So, pig iron is a form of iron creation where they would create bars of iron that resembled piglets suckling by pressing the forms into sand or soft dirt and allowing the hot metals to flow into the molds. And it would legitimately look like suckling piglets.
That's really cool, but also a very specific shape.
It was. And not really, it was kind of like this ice tray. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's not, but like, to them, it resembled
Right.
piglets. And that's not something I found on the internet. That's something I just knew. Because I excavated at Joanna Furnace.
Yeah.
And Joanna Furnace was actually an older furnace about 1.5 miles, 2 miles down the road from Hopewell. But when Hopewell opened, they shut Joanna Furnace down because they were bigger and they had cheaper labor and like
They were just
bigger and better.
better.
Yeah. So when the Revolutionary War began, Mark Bird, who served as the militia colonel and Deputy Quartermaster General, helped obtain supplies for Washington's forces while they stayed in Valley Forge.
Cool.
But, his most important contribution was when he became the Iron Master of Hopewell Furnace. So from 1775 to 1778, Hopewell Furnace supplied iron for cannon, shot, and shell, despite the fact that they had never created any munitions or weaponry before.
They were just kind of winging it with
They
what
were
they
all
knew.
winging it, yeah. So Hopewell was thought to produce roughly 115 big guns for the Continental Navy, some of which were used aboard the Randolph and the Delaware frigates.
What are frigates?
Frigates
What the
are... they're like battleships, but
Oh,
like
okay.
old wooden battleships.
Oh,
Like before we thought of them as battleships.
like
They were
pirate
just
ships.
like pirate ships. Like if you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean, those are frigates.
What the frick?
But more importantly, Hopewell provided the 10-inch mortar shells, which actually helped win the final battle in Yorktown.
Very good.
Yeah. It's said that Washington's forces came within 3 miles of Hopewell. Troopers of the 4th Continental Dragoons visited the furnaces along French Creek, which included Hopewell and Joanna, to ensure that munitions would not fall into the hands of the British. It was also around this time that Hopewell workers were also known to bury the great guns near the furnace to prevent them from being captured by the Redcoats, some
Smart.
of which were still there when they opened up the archaeological excavations,
Did
and
you find
that's how
any?
they... I didn't work at Hopewell. I worked at Joanna.
Oh.
I found a lot of slag at Joanna, which is a byproduct of iron creation. However, when they did start excavating at Hopewell before Hopewell became like the park we know it as today,
Yes.
they excavated it and they did find big guns buried.
That's so cool.
So, very cool. So in 1783, while we won the war, Hopewell lost big time.
Boom.
Mark Bird was unable to collect all the money due to him because the Continental Congress went bankrupt.
What? Sounds pretty on brand.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Bird borrowed heavily to invest in new iron-making ventures. However, the resurgent British iron industry flooded the unprotected American market with cheap goods, including cheap iron, and Hopewell Furnace was forced to close due to that.
Oh, so now it's just a pretty park that
So,
you can go to.
yeah, so they started excavations in the late 80s, early 90s. So, and they've rebuilt some of the buildings, because part of archaeology is to find, restore, and educate. So now that is what the folks over at Hopewell do. They have found things, they rebuilt them, restored them rather, and now they lead tours and they educate people on what Hopewell did.
That's cool. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been there a few times. I really like it there. It's really pretty. And
It's
yeah,
gorgeous there. It's a gorgeous park.
they still have all the houses set up in the little village there. You can like walk through them at your leisure.
Well, because a lot of, and this is something that was very common, not just at Hopewell, but like at any furnace. It was like a little village.
Yeah.
So like everybody,
cute.
yeah, so cute. Everybody who worked there lived there.
Yeah.
So most of the times they would have like a little store, like a general store on the property. They would have a huge mule barn that everyone had access to use. And then there would be like the cabins that the different families would live in who worked the furnace. And then there would be like a mansion house, which is the
Iron Master.
Iron
right?
Master Bird. Mark Bird.
Bird up.
Bird up. But yeah, so that is the history spot.
Sick.
And it's gorgeous there. I highly recommend if you're in this area, just go take a walk during the summer or fall.
Oh my god, definitely the fall.
Definitely the fall, because the leaves changing would be absolutely gorgeous.
It's so pretty. And they usually have like the horses out and stuff, so you can go and pet the ponies, walk around the barn. It's a nice time if you're just looking for like a leisurely stroll.
Alright, tell me the spooky stuff.
Yeah, so what I have for you today on Hopewell.
Alright, the more that I drink that, the more I just taste the licorice.
Yeah, I'm gonna swirl this around a little bit.
It's...
Is your breath on fire yet?
I'm gonna reiterate that this is a strong drink.
Yeah, like we only have
We have just like...
a fraction of our glass full right now.
We have about 3 fingers.
Yeah.
And sorry. We have got 3 fingers.
Leave that to your imagination.
I can't even taste the gin.
No.
That's what worries me, because gin is a very distinct, strong flavor.
Yes.
And I can't taste it.
Well, my couch is open if you ever need it.
I might be sleeping here tonight. Because I also have a little gift for Lauren that we will get into later. Dun dun dun.
All right. So, the story that I found for Hopewell Furnace, it's more of like local lore than like a bunch of ghost stories, I guess. But you'll see. It's pretty cool. We'll just jump right into it.
Yeah.
Also, sorry if you hear like outside noises. My street can be very busy. But, so, we're going to talk about the Grey Devil.
The Grey Devil. Is that like the Jersey Devil?
Maybe there's some relation. We'll let you put together some pieces, see if there's any connections here. But yeah, it definitely has a feel of a traditional campfire story, and in true fashion of how we're familiar with local lore, our main character to the story doesn't have a name. He is just simply known as the Grey Devil.
Of course. And I just came back from camp, so this is like the perfect transition for me.
Well, if you're ever a camp counselor again during the summer, toss this one around.
I was a village leader, thank you.
Sorry, Auntie.
I miss my kiddos.
Oh, wow, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. He supposedly got his name from the huge gray horse that he would ride all the way up and down the East Coast, and he seems to have traveled quite a bit. Our friend has famously been known for leaving behind a trail of crime and deception all the way from the Carolinas to Canada.
Ooh.
So he's been around the block a couple times.
Sweet.
He was basically your run-of-the-mill con man. He'd pick up odd jobs and feed people the story that he was this hard worker and just looking to make a living before completely robbing them blind.
My kind of man.
He sounds very alluring.
Yes.
Mysterious man. I don't know what I'm saying.
It's a strong drink.
It's a very strong drink.
And we ate before this.
That's
Listen.
exactly...
We had not eaten actual food before filming any of the other episodes. We ate today.
I was trying to avoid that this time, but we're, like I said, drinking basically absinthe cousin, so like...
Yeah, that's 30%. And well, gin is gin. 40%.
So, all of this finally caught up to him when a warrant was issued for his arrest in Lancaster.
Hey!
That's where Lena is now.
That is where I am now. But by the way, it's pronounced Lancaster, not Lancaster.
Lancaster.
Lancaster is how non-Lancaster people pronounce it.
That's how we know that you're an outsider.
That's how we know.
Alright, so, warrant for arrest in Lancaster, and then at that time, he decided to flee to New York and get another odd job. But he was quickly found out by authorities who knew he was wanted in PA and was arrested in upstate New York. It was on their way back to Lancaster at the Blue Ball Tavern that the Grey Devil overpowered the deputy sheriff, stole a horse, and sped down what is now Route 23, past French Creek, St. Peter's Village, and into Union Township.
Which is where Hopewell is.
Yep. It's all come together.
Mm-hmm.
He decided to lay low here and took up residence in a little shack in the woods. The locals didn't know exactly who he was, but kind of knew he was an outlaw, but still saw him more of as like a Robin Hood figure, because he would present the locals with livestock and other valuable goods that he stole from those who were very well off. And that's kind of how he lived his life here. Just stealing jewelry, stock, and what have you, and selling it to pawn shops in Philly.
I mean, I wish I could be more mad at him, but...
That's the only thing he knows how to do.
That's the only thing you're good at. Do what you're good at, man. But also, no, like, I'm a sucker for a Robin Hood type, so, like, cool.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't... From what I've read, it doesn't sound like he was too bad. Like, he didn't murder anybody. He just, was a thief on the run. He stole from the rich, gave to the poor. True Robin Hood.
Robin Hood. Love it. I love that the area has their own Robin Hood story.
Right.
That actually makes me very happy.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah.
So he's just out here in the woods, living his life as we all want to be. Until
Oh no.
one day,
Aww.
on his way back to his humble shack in the woods, on a road near Hopewell Dam, there was a beautiful lady in the woods. It was apparently love at first sight for both of them, and he gave her a piece of jewelry. Stolen, of course. And that kind of became their thing. They'd meet in the woods, and he'd give her stolen jewelry as a sign of affection. Kind of like a crow. You know how, like...
He's a crow!
You know
oh
how
my
if you're nice to the crows, sometimes they'll just bring you, like, shiny objects that they find.
Yeah.
Because they like you. Yeah, he's like a crow. I think that's really sweet.
That's so sweet. Ladies, get yourself a man who gives you things like crows.
Get yourself a crow man.
Get yourself a crow man.
Wait, that's a movie.
Is it?
The Crow.
Oh shit, you're right.
R.I.P. Brandon Lee. Fuck. And then...
Okay, so he was Crow Man.
He was the crow. And then, the day came that seals the fate of most relationships.
Oh.
She brought him to meet her parents.
Oh. Oh no.
So they lived in Hopewell Village in a foundryman's house, which you can still visit to this day. So one day, a friend of the family came to visit and noticed a ring on the girl's finger and recognized it as a ring that had been stolen from his mother.
Oh shit.
So he's like, hey, cool ring. Where'd you get it? And she's like, oh, my boyfriend gave it to me. So this guy, like, pulls her father aside and is like, hey, that's definitely Maduke's ring. What does this boyfriend of hers look like exactly?
Oh,
and
no.
So when the father told him the guy was like, oh, shit, homie, he's, like, wanted all over the state. And that's exactly what was said. You can't tell me otherwise.
Old-timey people talked like that.
This guy is bad news bears. Honey. So, they let the girl know that her boo thing was this hardened criminal, and absolutely heartbroken, she agreed to help the authorities capture him. So she goes up to meet him in their usual spot, and apparently she's really putting on the moves today. She's got on her corset, super tight, got the rouge on her cheeks, and just, you know, really hyping him up. But I think that's just really adding insult to injury, in my opinion. I mean, he's already crazy about this lady. I don't think you need to, like, spice it up right now, but whatever.
You never know. That probably was, like, her trying to, like, warn him.
Mm.
Like, bro, something's obviously amiss. Look at my boobies.
This is a red flag!
2 of them!
2 of them! Look at my cheeks, they're red as fuck.
Run away.
Our deputy sheriff that got stood up in the tavern jumps out and startles the man. The Grey Devil goes to pull out his pistol, but before he does, the sheriff shoots him in the shoulder. Then, once he gets to Lancaster County Jail, the Grey Devil dies in his cell, alone, never revealing his true identity. It was then after his death that people in the town started reporting ghostly apparitions near Hopewell Furnace. It is said, quote, the dull thundering sound of silvery phantom horses' hooves could be heard echoing in the dead of night, and if conditions were just right, the grim ghost of the Grey Devil himself could be seen gliding on the road on an eternal search for another unsuspecting victim.
Ooh. That's spooky. But, alright, so he never revealed his identity.
No.
But I really... Did she call him Grey?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if he, like...
She had to have known his name.
Or, like,
Or
if he gave
name,
her...
like an alias.
a false name. Yeah, I don't think he would have been like, yeah, I am the Grey Devil.
No, see, in my head...
Call me Grey.
Yeah, it's just Grey was what he told her to call him. And then it just takes this left turn into 50 Shades of Grey.
Call me the.
Call me the. Call me the sir.
The sir.
The sir.
The devil, if you so desire.
If we're being formal. Alright.
Oh wait, I do have one more story about Hopewell Furnace.
Yes! I love it. Let's do it.
It's kind of like a, what's the, like not a prologue. It's a prologue, right? Like the after story?
Epilogue.
Epilogue. All right, so we have a little epilogue story.
Cool.
So this one story comes from someone who visited Hopewell Village around 2010. So a quick fast forward 2 centuries later.
Just 2 centuries. Who notices?
Really quick. This person was with a group and she broke off from them as they went into the Ironmaster's house, and she started going towards the furnace when she came across who she thought was a costumed guide around 20 feet in front of her, crossing from the store building to the hill. She said it was weird though, because although she was wearing a dress that went all the way down to the ground, it didn't look like this person was taking steps, but more like gliding. She wasn't gliding, she was wearing a hoverboard under her dress.
Clearly.
She said the woman turned toward her, kind of looking past her, and just shook her head. And as she hoverboarded up to the visitor center, she shook her head no again before she disappeared.
Ooh. Like just a full-blown apparition.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if she was, like, shaking her head in a disapproving manner. Like, could this be... Sorry if you hear my dog barking. Could this be our mistress who, like, lost her...
Boo thing?
Yes, her love.
Oh.
I don't know. We didn't get a description.
But we also don't have a lot of... There's not a lot of, like, ghost stories or lore that you can find online for Hopewell.
No, not really. It's just that one, like, local legend, which is still pretty cool, I guess.
But, like, it is really cool. But it's also, my point is that when you have a place that's old that a lot of people lived at, if people lived there, they died there.
Yeah, usually.
So, like, I would not be surprised to hear that Hopewell has a multitude of ghosts, but just that no one ever really, like, reports it.
Yeah.
Or talks about it.
Or they're just, like, it's not so, crazy enough, I guess, that they're just like, yeah, this is weird. They just kind of write it off.
Because, like, Penhurst, horrible things happened there, which drew people to look for ghosts.
Exactly.
Hopewell, nothing really horrible happened there.
No, it's just old.
So no one looks for ghosts there specifically. But I bet you if we took that stuff that you got on your trip over to Hopewell,
oh my god,
we would find shit.
Hold on. Yeah, really quick.
Yeah.
So...
Sorry, I slid that in there.
No, but that's great. That just reminded me, because I did want to share this, like, once it's posted or whatever. But when I was in Nevada, I went to the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum, and Josh and I did a ghost hunt tour there at, like, 10 o'clock at night to, like, 11 or something. So we had, like, all of this ghost hunting equipment that we bought, and we caught some pretty cool stuff. Some, like, cool EVPs.
Well, so we'll have to do, like, a whole episode on that.
Oh my goodness, we should. Definitely. Zach Bagans Museum. That's definitely going to be an episode. Because, woo! But real quick, I do have one more fun fact about Hopewell Furnace. So... There is a technical death metal band called the Hopewell Furnace, who are local to PA, and they're actually really fucking good.
I've never heard of this band.
Me either.
I think this is where we have to go to YouTube.
Yeah. I know a lot of people, like, aren't into death metal, so I won't, like, keep this in or whatever, but if you're into that sort of thing, definitely look them up.
A few moments later.
I actually do like that. So that's from 2 years ago. Yes. I really wonder if they're still a thing.
So I tried to do a little digging because I would like to see a fucking show.
Honestly. I would love to go see a show.
But yeah, they haven't posted anything since December of 2019. And I asked Josh, I'm like, I wonder, like, where they were, what happened? And he's like, well, COVID happened. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Shit. You're not wrong.
Oh no.
So I don't know what they're doing now, but hey, if you're out there and you somehow find this podcast, like,
we'll, like, tag you.
Give us some updates.
Yeah.
I like your music.
We want to go to a show.
But yeah, I don't know if you noticed some of them wearing, like, burlap sacks on their heads.
Yeah.
So the deal with that is they were the sacks and old-timey clothes to represent the Molly Maguires that were executed in Jim Thorpe in 1877.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, the Hopewell Furnace, we need to, talk, because it sounds like you're into history, and I'm into history.
Yo, hit
and
me up.
booze, and spooky things, and that's a spooky thing too, so you should just come on our show.
Can we do, a collab? Our first collab?
Yeah! Can the first collab be with the heavy metal band?
How on
Oh,
brand.
that would be so on brand.
All
It's
right.
not even funny how on brand that would be.
I love it. All right, take it away with St. Pete's.
Switching gears.
Meow.
So this is where I introduce the gift for Lauren.
What?
Yeah. So the main building that I focused on St. We're gonna try that again.
Okay.
The main building that I focused on in St. Peter's Village is the inn at St. Peter's Village. Built in 1881 as an excursion house, the site became the Inn of St. Peter's Village in 2005. Rumored to have been a place where foxes were kept in the basement to supply the local fox hunting club, which I can confirm that shit happened and is historically accurate because I know people who are in local fox hunting clubs now. By the way, they don't kill the foxes. They just chase
good.
them around on horseback while getting shit-faced on whiskey.
Okay.
So the bar at the inn is called the Fox Den Bar as a nod to the history. And several people are said to have killed themselves in the inn, one notably by hanging herself in the stairwell. However, because we are talking about a place that is pretty well known as an excursion house and fox hunters frequent that place, and I can attest to even current day, fox hunters go and drink at this place.
That's
and
so cool.
The menu's actually pretty decent too.
Okay.
I have brought us Jameson.
Hooray! A woman after my own heart.
So, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna take a break from the extra strong drink and just drink Jameson.
Yeah. Well, let's remember to water you later.
Yes. I'm like a plant. Water me one every 5 days. Sancha?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sorry, I can't do it without something. If I had some water, maybe.
A true testament to this dynamic here is I just took my shot, and Lauren did not.
She's stronger than me. I can't do it. I just can't.
That's fair. But alright, is it bad that the shot's actually not as strong as the drink?
That I definitely believe. I guess I'm just afraid because I'm used to drinking the stronger drink now. That's just what I'm expecting in the shot.
No, I mean it's still a shot of Jameson.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't
significantly less bad.
It doesn't taste like rubbing alcohol.
It does not taste like licorice flavored rubbing alcohol.
Me.
Which is kind of, I don't know about your drink, but that's kind of what my drink tastes like at this point.
Yeah, you can see I'm kind of babying it right now.
Alright, so it might just be that I just like my liquor. As liquor. I'm not a fan of I like that we put the cookies and cream creamer in, but I'm not a fan of cream in my drinks.
No.
Because it gives this phlegmy mucusy thing happening in my throat, which this did help with.
It just kind of killed all that.
It just killed it. But yeah, it's...
See, I like a Irish coffee every now and then, but drinks like this, it's definitely like a sipping drink with a side of water.
Yeah, it's a lot. Mm-hmm. But you know what? So is Free Love Valley, which we will talk about after you tell us the spooky stuff of St. Peter's Inn.
Yes. Lena, do you know what I love?
A shot of Annie Get Your Gun with a chaser of ginger ale?
I mean, yeah. But I also love not leaving my house.
Dude, same. I love my bed and my blankets, and they have accepted me as one of their own, and if I leave now, they will never trust me again.
Don't compromise that relationship.
I can't.
But
especially right now.
Yes, especially during a pandemic. Don't leave your house. And the last thing I want to do is go out to the grocery store when I could just have everything I need delivered to my house.
Is that why you Instacart?
That is exactly why I Instacart. They can deliver fresh groceries straight to my door, sometimes in as little as 1 hour. Or I can schedule the delivery if I'm not going to be around.
Instacart now also has multiple options based on your needs, from pet stores to your local pharmacy, and our personal favorite, even alcohol.
Hell yeah.
And they even have a section for people who use food stamps, so you can find exactly what you need all in one place.
So follow the link in our show notes to go to instacart.com to get free delivery on your first order of $10 or more.
Instacart. Never take a step in a grocery store ever the again. Hey, Lauren.
Hey, Lena.
How do we do this?
Do it.
Make our podcast.
Oh, we use Buzzsprout. Do you want to know one of the best things about it?
What?
You can start a show for free.
That's my favorite 4-letter F word.
Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever else you get your podcasts.
Buzzsprout wants their podcasters to succeed. So, in addition to distributing your podcast for you, you'll get a great looking podcast website, detailed analytics, promotional tools, and they'll even help you pick out the right equipment for you, and that's just scratching the surface.
So follow the link in our show notes to let Buzzsprout know we sent you and get a great deal on every subscription level. If you sign up for a paid plan, this also gets you a $20 Amazon gift card that you could put towards, I don't know, a new microphone for your podcast.
Oh, that's a low blow. And, of course, this helps support our show. So follow the link in our show notes to go to buzzsprout.com and join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world.
Buzzsprout, the easiest way to start a podcast. Just gonna jump right into the ghosties.
Do it.
There is a ghost of an infant that has been heard crying throughout the inn. I found a story where one couple had the whole inn to themselves for the night, and they were woken up by a child crying at like 4 a.m., and it just went on for like a half hour.
So I can attest that babies are heard crying in the inn. So when I lived at Timbercrest, and I can say that because it's not a public name.
Okay.
But when I lived at Timbercrest, it was very, very close. Mm-hmm. One could say walking distance. So I would frequent the inn. And me and the bartender, as on brand as this is, me and the bartender got close.
Tight.
And she actually lived in the inn. She lived above the bar in the inn.
Oh.
And rented out one of the rooms as an apartment.
Yeah.
Because it got like refurbished, and her 2 kids, who, so it's been a year, so they're officially like high schoolers.
Okay.
Because they were both like on the verge of ending middle school. So it wasn't her kids crying.
Yeah.
But her and her 2 kids would hear babies crying.
That's eerie.
And like at first she was like, I always just thought someone else was in the inn. Yeah. Because they do rent out the rooms. You can rent out a room in the inn and sleep there. However, she found out that the one night they heard crying and footsteps, no one else was in the inn.
That's gross. I don't like that.
Yeah. So that shit actually does happen.
Oh no. She was walking, she wasn't on a hoverboard.
Nope. Footsteps and babies crying.
Man.
Dun dun dun.
I mean, it's one thing, like, it's bad when babies cry, but then there's no one there to soothe them and make them stop.
Every time I hear a little kid or a baby cry, my heart breaks a little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to handle it.
No, so I'm sorry for this next part. I did find a comment that there was a rumor that the inn served as a brothel at one point, and that women who didn't want their babies just kind of disposed of them in the woods. I'm sorry.
I really don't like that.
I'm not sure how true that is, but there it is. I had to put that in there.
So from the historical standpoint, and again, so like, we were talking about this earlier before we started recording. St. Pete's is like a fucking Twilight Zone.
Yes.
On the history side. For some unknown reason, I cannot find any real historical, like, and when I say historical data, I mean, like, I looked in archives for, like, newspapers or original deeds to lands, because I pulled out the archaeology history degree and, like, tried to put it to use. and I looked at things like J-Stir and all that shit, and there was nothing
That's so
on
odd.
St. Pete's. And that's weird because St. Pete's has been around since,
Forever.
like, colonial times.
Yeah.
The church, the St. Peter's Church,
Yes.
that's on 23,
Yes.
which named the village, has been there since, I think it was like 1690s.
Wow.
And like I can pull up a record of like constituents who like frequented the church and like members of that community,
Yeah.
but it only says like XYZ paid their dues and shit like that. It doesn't actually go into things. Like it's like I could find baptismal records,
Yeah.
but that's not something we're gonna talk about here
No,
because it's nothing to do with what we want.
Not that kind of podcast.
No.
But it is weird, and I'm just wondering if it's just because it's such a small village and such a small part of the county that they just kind of flew under the radar, you know? Just one of those things.
I guess it had to have been. And I guess because, like, nothing, like, majorly tragic happened
No, it's...
there. Tragic things happened because people lived there, and,
You know, people
tragic things happen when people live places.
Yeah.
It's just historically how that goes. But, like, with Free Love,
Yeah.
Free Love Valley became popular because of the thing we're going to talk about later,
Very
which
odd.
was, like, at that time, it was pretty horrendous.
Yeah, someone wanted to document that.
Yeah. And like it made the local papers.
Did it ever?
It did. And like that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But like St. Pete's doesn't have that. No one was, I mean,
Yeah.
spoiler, no one was brutally murdered in St. Pete's.
No. It was just this quiet, tranquil little like slice of PA, and it still very much is.
It really is. And I mean, again, like I know that we say this to every place we talk about. Like,
Yeah.
strongly recommend going to St. Pete's.
Oh yeah, we spent most of our childhoods there, so like
In the woods.
the nostalgia is
Mushroom
very...
Rock.
Oh, Mushroom Rock.
Mushroom Rock. So if you
Have you tagged it?
I did not tag it.
Oh.
No. I was never allowed spray paint as a child.
Man.
But if you follow the one trail in through the woods, you will eventually find a ton of rocks that are tagged, and one specifically is painted to look like a mushroom, and it's Mushroom Rock. And well, it's important to note that this is also a quarry.
Yes.
St. Pete's now has a quarry in it, and it's been there since the 80s.
Yes.
So when you go in and you like start looking, you can like boulder jump all over the fucking place, which is really cool. But you find like these slabs of cement that clearly were something
Yeah.
and are now just in St.
Scared the
Pete's.
shit out of
I legitimately just like looked and I was like, what was that? Alright, so the wind just blew against the window, and we're talking about ghost stories and drinking, and
God.
we got scared.
I'm all worked up right now.
It's the drink. I'm blaming this fucking drink.
Oh my god.
But okay, so tell me more about ghosts at St.
Right.
Peter's Inn, and then I will share my personal experience.
I would love to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. So, there is a hunched over old man that is seen both inside the inn and walking along the street, which, if memory serves, I believe he used to be the bakery owner known as Herbie. I think that was his name.
I mean, if we're gonna say that people have seen a hunched over white old man in St. Peter's Inn and on the street, I can be like, sure, I can name 80 of them. Like, almost everyone who frequents the inn is above the age of 65, hunched over, normally sloshed out of their minds. Mm-hmm. So, my crowd of people. Really, it's
They're all named Herbie.
all named Herbie.
No, but I remember this ghost being mentioned in the Ghost Stories of Chester County book by Charles J. Adams III. Have you ever read those?
I have not.
My dad used to collect them. So I would just...
Of course your dad would.
Of course he did, but
I
I would
say
have
that
been
affectionately.
I think that's where my fascination started with this whole thing. So there you go. Yeah, but I haven't read those since grade school, so this may sound familiar to you, based on what you've told me. Apparently, Herbie likes to harass people in the downstairs bathroom by opening and closing the doors and spinning toilet paper.
So, one of the last times that I was at the inn,
Yes.
and this was in COVID times,
Mm-hmm.
so, like, masks were a thing. And that's what made what I saw stand out to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I used the ladies' room at the inn, and so when you go into the bathroom, and this is important because I will describe it, and I don't know. So when you go in, you walk down like a little narrow hallway, and the door is propped open, so you can see, like, when you're at the sinks,
Yes.
which are like, alright, I'm sorry, I'm explaining this really horribly because I'm bad at this. Alright, so you walk in,
Yes.
and the door's always propped open, so people could come in and out without having to use the handle.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately in front of you are sinks, and there's 2 sinks.
They're, like, outside the bathroom.
They're outside the bathroom. And then you, like, walk in, and there's stalls, and on the one wall, there's a mirror.
Yeah.
Next to the door.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're not paying too close attention, if you walk past the mirror, it looks like you're in the hallway from, like, your peripheral, which is important to what I'm about to say. So I came out of the stall, and I was walking to the sink, and while I was standing at the sink, in my peripheral vision, I saw someone walk by me, and, like, walk like they were walking toward the sinks as well.
Yeah.
And my brain recognized it as someone walking past.
Mm-hmm.
And what alerted me to actually look up was the fact that they were not wearing a mask.
You were just like, hey.
I was about to, like, lose my shit on someone and be like, mask the fuck up, bitch.
We don't do that here.
And, if you like masks, maybe don't go to the inn, is all I'm saying.
Oh.
I love the inn. I frequented it often. It's still one of my favorite places to drink, but, like...
It is pretty close to Pennsyltucky.
It's pretty Pennsyltucky there.
Yeah.
But, like, I like, turned over to, like, yell at someone to put on a fucking mask, and no one was there.
Oh, God.
And, like, I think a part of me wants to, like, rationalize it as it was someone who was outside the bathroom walking past.
Yeah.
But I know it wasn't.
Just how, like,
because it
where
was
they
not,
were, it just didn't
like,
line up.
positionally, it didn't make sense.
Ooh.
And, like...
Were they hunched over like a turtle?
No, it was actually a woman.
Oh.
It was actually a woman.
Interesting.
And, like, I want to be able to say, like, oh, and she was wearing, like, old-timey clothes, but she wasn't. It was just a woman. I can't tell you what she was wearing. I'm bad at shit like that.
You know what they look like.
You know what women look like. But no, it was just, you know, woman, dark hair, pale. I say that, but, like, I'm fucking pale, too. So that, to me, means Jack. But, no, but, like, where... it was in my peripheral.
Yes.
It makes more sense that it was a mirror reflection.
Yes.
Which is terrifying because I was standing next to a wall.
That is my fear all the time, is, like, seeing something in the mirror of all places.
The movie Oculus really fucked me up for a while there. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think I
refuse to see it at this point. I can't do it.
Don't do it. I will say this, for a solid 8 months.
Oh.
After that movie came out.
Oh my.
I covered every fucking mirror. And I refused to look in them. 8 months.
When in doubt, sage it out.
Nope, I was like, I can't trust my reflection. It's fine. I just won't look at it. So for like 8 months, my makeup was all done just like...
we're just gonna guess
muscle memory.
Gonna
but
wing it.
It's cool because it was when I like did the raccoon makeup. So it was
it
all
doesn't
smudgy
matter.
anyways.
It worked out.
Yes.
And now, we are on the second floor of the inn. So for this one, I kind of wanted just to say trigger warning for suicide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wanted to try to, like, if I remember, like, kind of warn about those things. I know they can be.
Yeah. I like to provide a warning as well.
So,
But before you continue, our trigger warning is not for you to skip over a section. It is to warn you to mentally and emotionally prepare yourself and endure and use grounding methods so that you can enjoy the content.
Eloquently put.
Thank you. It's almost like I do this for a living.
You don't say.
Huh.
But yes, a woman supposedly hung herself, as you said.
Yes.
And her footsteps can now be heard on the second floor where she died. So,
And that makes sense to what the bartender said.
Yup. Lines up.
Mm-hmm.
Those who have seen her describe her as a woman with her hair pulled back in a bun and wearing a long flowing skirt, kind of like what you'd wear in the Old West. Some even report smelling her perfume. A lot of people feel a heaviness in the air and feel sick on the second floor. People dining in the inn have had their chairs kicked when no one's around. There are also sounds of moaning and doors slamming upstairs. Typical ghost. May as well throw some chain rattling in there and call it a day.
Yeah, where are you, Bob Marley? Sorry. That was aggressive. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance.
So I'm going to run through the last of the ghost stories real quick for St. Pete's, and then we'll get to the meat. Or I was trying to think of like a good phrase there, but I couldn't.
We'll get to the interesting part of North Coventry.
The party. There are people screaming
There
outside.
are
I'm
people
sorry.
Fighting outside.
That happens sometimes. So, there are also rumors of a demon that resides in the creek that runs along the village. So if you've never been to St. Pete's, there's a lot of people go rock hopping here, like we said, and we all kind of like scale these huge rocks that are just chilling in the stream. So when people are climbing and walking through here, people have feelings of extreme sadness, fatigue, and shortness of breath. I mean, I get that way sometimes too when I exercise, but
that's definitely my go-to for exercising. Not gonna lie.
But people also feel the sensation of being followed in the woods when there's no one else around and have gotten tree branches and rocks thrown at them. This happened to one hunter who was in his tree stand one early morning. Sorry, let me see if I can shut Thor up real quick.
Lauren's not here. Oh no, she's coming back. She'll witness this. I'm gonna take a shot of the Anisette because I'm curious.
R.I.P. Leda.
You'll hear all of that later.
That's all I heard when I came up the stairs. I'm gonna take a shot of this Anisette just to see what happens.
I said because I'm curious. Curious, okay?
Farewell, friends.
We're at the point in the episode where I just get Lauren drunk.
Oh my god, not a full shot.
It's not a full shot.
Okay,
it's not even half a shot.
I was a little worried. I'm like, this is a big shot glass. I'm not.
Lauren's a wuss.
Well.
Say that with love.
Listen.
20 years later, I say it with love, okay? Whew. Yeah, so we're at August 20th today.
Yes.
In 10 days,
Yes.
we will have been in each other's lives for 20 years. In 10 days, we will reach the longest relationship I've ever experienced.
That's crazy. Not a lot of people can say that. 2 decades.
2 decades.
It's a long fucking time.
It's a long fucking time, man.
So our anniversary's coming up soon.
It is. Next weekend, are you coming to me or am I coming to you?
Next weekend I can come to you.
Cool.
Just switch.
Yay! Yes. I'll make sure I'll bring the mic then.
Okay.
But no, and then we can do gifts.
Yes.
If yours has arrived. I'm hoping. I've been waiting. And that's kind of why I was like, don't, we can't do it today.
I was worried that yours wouldn't show up either because it kept saying, it was like pending or like
oh no,
package received at the facility, and like it wasn't moving, but then it just showed up at my door one day. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, good. Well, hopefully that's what happens with mine.
So, yes, we're in the woods. Sometimes people get tree branches and rocks thrown at them. And this happened to one hunter who was in a tree stand early in the morning. He said that he could hear people walking around, but there shouldn't have been anyone around at this hour, much less walking around the woods in the dark with no source of light, and would occasionally hear a hushed conversation.
That feels like some Blair Witch shit right there.
Oh, doesn't it?
Well, and I don't know. I don't know if you found anything on this, and I might just be like cutting you off and sharing what you have found. But have you heard about the like lights in the woods?
No.
So, because St. Pete's is somewhere we frequented growing up,
Yep.
I would always hear that if people were there late at night, they would see like campfires or other sources of light and walk toward them thinking they would find people.
Right.
But never could find the people or where the source was.
That's eerie. And I wonder if they kept following these lights, if they would just get lost in the dark.
I
Woods.
never asked if people did. But like what I know from recently and going to the inn late at night and drinking there is I've seen, looking from the inn.
The lights.
So part of the inn you can sit now outside.
Yes.
Fully. And you can look across the creek and into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen lights in the woods.
Oh, that's creepy.
And I always would recall those stories of people telling me that they would see ghost campfires and not be able to find the source, and when they finally got to where the fire should have been, there was nothing.
Ooh.
And there was no people. So I would and the lights that I saw would look like campfires from a distance, but so far away and in the woods and so far away from the paths that I knew so well that I was never like, I want to go see what that is.
Yeah, I'm gonna steer off the path. This seems safe.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the last tidbit might give some shed some light on that.
Ooh.
So, where was I? Yeah, the hunter.
Hunter.
So he also mentioned that when he went hunting with his friend, that his friend was out of breath the entire time and felt like there was a huge weight on him, even though his friend was apparently very athletic and he's someone who shouldn't have been easily winded. And people have also seen dozens of silhouettes in the evening just kind of watching and observing.
See, and I'm not shocked by that because, so we mentioned earlier that part of St. Pete's is a quarry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the quarry is where the creek is.
Yes.
Because rainfall fills up the quarry and it creates a creek. When my dad in the 80s, 70s, 80s, would come with his friends, they would rock jump into the water. Mm-hmm. The issue being is the water was not deep enough for them to safely do that. And I know of at least 2 stories of him doing that with friends while inebriated.
Yeah.
And someone getting hurt.
Very hurt.
Yeah.
Would not recommend doing this.
Strongly. You can do a lot of things at St. Pete's safely.
Yeah.
Boulder jumping is one of them. Walking, hiking, tagging, mushroom rock.
Painting the mushroom.
I so strongly recommend against any form of swimming at St. Pete's.
Yeah, because that quarry you're talking about, at one point the water level was high enough where it was kind of okay to jump.
Well, because it did reach about 6.5 feet.
Yeah, but the problem is that over time it has decreased, and there is construction
constantly
machines.
There. Yeah.
Well, there are machines under the water.
That too.
Cranes and shit.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That are just in the water because I think it was they were digging in that area, but then they hit a water vein or some shit, and the area flooded, so all of the vehicles are still there. All of, those big cat
machinery.
Digging machines, yep, that's all still there.
Well,
so people
and I think some of them actually stick out of the water.
Yeah, the water level's
now
low
because
enough.
The water level's low enough.
Yeah.
But so moral of the story, don't swim there, because even if you're just swimming and not jumping into the water, let me tell you how we have water snakes here
Ew, yeah, copperheads.
are poisonous. Copperheads are poisonous.
Yeah.
Also, there's this really great thing called a snapping turtle.
Oh, fuck that.
And while the snakes are poisonous, snapping turtles will just fuck you up if they bite you.
They will latch on and they will not let go.
And if they are just left to their own devices, they get fucking big.
Yeah, they really
Like,
do.
They get to the size of, like, a car. Or at least, like, one of those small Italian ones.
See, I was thinking of like a cat, but
No, they get huge.
Yikes.
Like, even where my parents live right now,
Uh-huh.
one time when we first moved there, we were driving home, so, like, into the development, and there was this big black thing just moving on the road, and it looked like a trash bag. It was the size of a full black trash bag. So we pulled over, and I was gonna put it somewhere safely, and it was a fucking snapping turtle.
Casual.
Just running across the road.
Trash bag turtle.
So they get big, and they are nasty and aggressive.
Oh,
So
my.
maybe don't swim in water that you know is unsafe.
Yep, that just added to my fear of bodies of water. Yep, thank you. Good.
Sorry, I mean, good. I'm glad I've scared you. Don't do it.
The
All
water
right.
is terrifying.
The water is terrifying.
All right. But yeah, so the silhouettes in the woods, and then one last little excerpt. Supposedly, this was also a recovery spot for soldiers during the Civil War after they left local hospitals to make room for more wounded. So they would just like kind of chill out here and try to heal up.
I had heard that about the inn because the inn. So it was an excursion house, and an excursion house was like a meeting place.
Yes.
Where people could nap, but also like pretty much get shit-faced before they wander around.
Yeah, kind of recharge.
Yeah. So I fully would believe it to be somewhere that they used as overflow hospital space during the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was around. It was around during the Revolutionary War. I'm surprised we don't have more information on this place.
I am too. So like it wouldn't surprise me if quite a few people died here. And
they definitely died there.
Yeah, and that energy is still hanging around, and that's why like people see things in the woods.
Oh, hell yeah. Even if it's like more recent day things where people just get fucking lost in the woods.
Yeah.
Because again, like if you veer off the paths and you don't know the area, you're fucked.
Yeah, and you don't get self-service out there, so you better know what you're doing.
So stay on the paths if you visit and you don't know the area.
Simple, easy to remember.
Simple things. We love you. We don't want you to get hurt.
Alright, so
Alright.
now we're gonna get to the main course.
Free Love Valley.
Woo!
Also known as North Coventry. We giggle because, well, Norco is where we grew up.
Uh-huh. That is where we met, North Coventry
Elementary school.
Yep.
That is where we met, 2nd grade.
Yep.
Violin practice.
Yep.
Alright, so.
Tell me about it.
I'm gonna tell you about it. Oh man, there's so much. And my notes are so scrambled because there was just so much.
I'm very ready.
Alright. So in 1787, Theophilus Ransom Gates was born in Connecticut and moved to Philadelphia in 1810 after reporting having experienced strange and disturbing visions. We love it. From 1810 to 1835, Gates openly criticized religions in a monthly newsletter called The Reformer and expressed being unhappy at home, which led him to adopt the quote-unquote perfectionism as a lifestyle.
Oh.
And perfectionism, like from a historical standpoint, was someone wanted the perfect everything.
Right.
So, to a 1800s man,
yes,
the perfect wife was subordinate and always willing to
Yeah.
do whatever he wanted, and he had
Everyman.
land and all that shit.
Prosperous and money.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing that we see today.
Yeah. So, in 1837, 2 years after publishing how unhappy he was at home, Gates launched the battle axe experiment, which advocated for free love based on the principle of holiness leading to the union of soulmates.
Free love. Tell me about that.
So, the battle axes were named after Jeremiah 51, verse 20.
Okay.
Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. And him using this was a direct challenge against the church that he was rebelling against. And I want to clarify, he's rebelling against the puritanical asshats that have created such a toxic fucking view of sex and everything that our society is based on right now.
So he was trying to speak out against that, like, this
So,
is kind of messed up.
Gates would be a liberal.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Gates would have been liberal and would have, I don't know. I don't know the words. Gates would have just been a really cool guy.
I would have even maybe suggested he was polyamorous before that was a thing.
He was.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with just his wife. He was, expressing...
See, that's where it shifts.
It's a little tricky.
It's a little tricky because in our worldview, if he had multiple partners that he felt equal affection for and attraction to, he'd be poly.
Yeah, that was my thought, because the free
However,
love thing.
Yeah, this is where we lead into my next bullet point. So from 1840 to 1845, women would be called upon by the Lord to leave their husbands and move in with another man, whereupon the wife of that man would be called upon to move on. So Gates' views was, and I quote, "No wife should lack a husband brisk in bed. No husband should lack an attentive wife." So he wasn't about having multiple partners.
Right.
He was about having the partner who fulfilled you sexually.
Right.
Which, again,
Important.
all for.
Yes.
But it was more of a, there was a huge emphasis on sexual satisfaction rather than the marriage itself.
Right.
For if a woman came upon a man who was so unhappily married, it was her right to offer herself to him to console him.
To console him.
That's another quote. So,
Interesting phrasing.
So, I mentioned, like, he launched the battle axe experiment.
Okay.
So the battle axe was a pamphlet that he published, like a book that he published. The battle axes, plural, were the followers of that pamphlet because it became a cult.
Right,
Like, it became a form of religion.
Yeah, some of the things you're saying now, I'm like, this is starting to sound a little culty.
Oh, yeah. So, also, I found, so Planned Parenthood, in our minds, is a wonderful place that you can go and get checked out health-wise, take care of things you need to have taken care of.
Sexual health.
Get education.
Yeah.
The terminology Planned Parenthood was actually published in the Battle Axe.
Really?
Planned Parenthood was tied in as a precaution where sexual relations were encouraged, but children were not wanted.
Ooh, very progressive.
So very progressive, but also, like, that's where the name Planned Parenthood comes from.
That's insane.
Isn't that insane?
What?
I just wanted to, like, I had, like, a whole moment.
The more I learn about this cult, this group, it blows my mind every single time.
Right? Like, so the cult themselves, I don't think were bad people.
No, they just like sex a lot.
They were just very sexually liberated.
Yeah.
So on some old maps of Chester County, North Coventry is called Free Love Valley. And in historical texts, which there were a lot, The area is referred to as a hedonistic area. However, those in the cult would refer to the area as Utopia.
Sure.
In 1845... Oh, wait, no. I'm not there yet. Hold on.
Okay.
So from 1840 to 1845, women would feel called upon by the Lord to leave their husbands and move in with another man, whereupon the wife of that man would be called upon to move on to a new man. Mm-hmm. Remember how we earlier, before we started recording, talked about that lake?
Yep.
They would practice skinny dipping in a local lake for an unspecified religious reason.
Unspecified, but you know that they were fucking in that
It was
lake.
just an orgy. And they didn't have the words.
You know what's the best about this? Is that this is all taking place, like, right next to my mom's house. Like, where my mom lives right now.
Oh, totally!
And I never knew.
When Lauren's mom or my parents would drive me to Lauren's house growing up, we would pass the sex lake. Because you have to pass the sex lake to get to your house.
Where a cult used to thrive. It's very on brand for us right now.
A cult would thrive and skinny dip. For unspecified religious reasons.
Everything is cyclical.
Okay. Another thing that they would do, which I find hilarious, they would gather at Tranquil Church and run naked up and down the pews and aisles during services to corrupt the faiths.
That sounds like a church that I want to subscribe to. Sign me up.
Tranquil Church is where our murder victim is buried.
I used to write poetry in their graveyard when I was a teenager.
There you go. So, in 1857... Gates left the battle axes due to excesses.
Did he get tired of fucking?
He got tired of fucking all the ladies.
I need to move on to greener pastures. I've been there, done that, so to speak.
So I've put the notes away. I've tied my hair up. We are gonna get into some anthropological aspects of this shit.
Dish.
So, there was a woman who was murdered.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
By a hatchet that she carried and used as a form of protection. And Lauren's going to get into this story later. However, I think it's interesting because she didn't just have any normal type of hatchet with a flat edge that you would use as a tool.
Okay.
She had a rounded blade, which historically was an actual battle axe. And used as a weapon. So she had a weapon. She had an actual battle axe. And the battle axes also each had battle axes. So the woman who was murdered, who was thought to be this upright citizen, either had relations with one of the battle axes, or was a battle axe herself at one point and kept the weapon from the cult.
Yeah, she sounded a little paranoid, but I think she definitely did have some kind of connection to the cult.
Oh, no, she definitely did, because she also was brought up in the church where they would run naked.
She lived right next to the church.
She did.
The house that's still standing to this day, we used to drive past it all the time, and it was abandoned for a long time.
It was very run down.
And I remember when a family moved in there when I was still living at my mom's, and they cleaned it up pretty nicely, but it was empty for a while.
Well, so they moved out and abandoned it. Yeah. And then it was abandoned for a couple of years. My sister and brother-in-law actually looked at that property to buy it.
Really?
Oh, but it was so fucking... It was deteriorated and dilapidated. It was so bad that they couldn't actually invest the money to fix it up.
Considering what happened there, I can't imagine a lot of people would want to buy it.
I don't think a lot of people know that that's where it happened.
It is a very, hush-hush part of our history.
It is.
I mean, no one talked about it, and I lived there. I lived in that whole area my whole life.
If you went to the Giant on Route 100 in Buckstown, you've passed it.
Yeah. Never heard a peep about it until recently. I'm just like, what? We have to talk about this. It's blowing my fucking mind.
We had an axe murder and a fucking sex cult here. And no one talks about it.
Nope.
I was, very briefly, a member of the fucking East Coventry...
Okay, where's this going?
I was very briefly a member of the East Coventry Historical Society because I was going to give tours of Frick's Locks.
Yeah.
And they didn't have anything on this shit. They never even, like, broached the topic of that shit.
They were like, no, we don't talk about this
They're
anymore.
like, no. It never happened.
We're an upstanding Christian community.
There was never a sex cult. There was a fucking sex cult.
Let's talk about it. There was a sex cult in my poor mother's backyard.
Exactly. In your mom's backyard.
Is that all you have on the history?
That is all the history I have. But
Okay.
I thought that it was really cool, fun historical facts.
Yeah. No, definitely. So then I'm going to talk about the murder of Miss Hannah Shingle. So, the suspects we have for her murder are John Miller, a handyman, the handyman who found the body.
Yes.
Hannah Williamson, main convert of Free Love Valley after Gates. I believe she took over.
I think she might have. There was not a lot after he left because he,
Yeah, he kind of just...
he did a Vampire Diaries thing where he journaled everything, and those journals are now a matter of public record. Fun fact, you can buy copies of the Battle Axe on eBay.
I'm gonna find it, because I want that.
I tried to find one. I was like, I will sit here in a fucking bidding war for this book. But as recently as 2019, people were in bidding wars over original copies of Battle Axe.
Yeah.
I'd fight over that shit too because we're in Free Love Valley.
I want one. I gotta find one now.
I know, it's so much fun.
Probably
Do it.
pay out the nose for it, but...
Oh, probably. But historical texts, you always do.
And then we have Constable Billy Rader, who suddenly became rich after the murder.
Oh, that's suspicious.
So, here are the details, the juicy, gory details of her murder. Her head had been nearly severed from her body thanks to the axe that she always kept by her bedside for protection. How morbidly poetic.
I mean, and again, the axe that she had was a rounded blade, which, anthropologically speaking, a rounded blade was a weapon, a flat blade was a tool. She had a weapon. The battle axes all had the same type of weapon.
She was ready to fuck somebody up, but looks like someone else knew how to use it. So, along with the listed suspects, several other battle axe members were questioned as well. One man, thought to be a suspect, hanged himself from a stout tree at the corner of Valley View Road and Catfish Lane. We know where that is.
Oh, I know where that is so badly. Ugh.
Wonder if we could find that tree.
I'm pretty sure I know exactly where that fucking tree is. So the lake is where your mom lived.
Yeah.
The tree is down the fucking road walking distance from my parents' house. Yeah. Which, wouldn't be surprised because their development was built on farmland.
Yikes.
Because none of that existed before.
Another suspect at the time was a worker from the Schuylkill Canal Yards at Unionville who was found in possession of blood-covered overalls.
I'm gonna guess he's the whodunit.
Funny thing, actually. Without modern-day techniques of DNA matching, his guilt could not be proven, though it is said that he confessed on his deathbed. So, it's very possible. Just took it to the grave.
I mean, from some of the things I read, I don't know if you found the same things. This woman was a little bit of a nag and a busybody. Like, she was in everybody's fucking business.
I heard she was a spinster. I think that's
well, she was a spinster. She wasn't married. So spinster meant that she was our age and unmarried.
Yeah.
We're spinsters.
Single and had more money than the average person without children. Or...
No. Not the average person without children. Had more money than the average penis. That's the issue.
Yes.
She was a woman and had money.
That was the issue.
That was the issue. Let's be real. But it was noted, and I don't know if you found this, but I found historical text that suggests that she was sought after as a
Yeah.
young lady.
I did see that too. And she was just like, no, I prefer the single life. Which, good for her.
You know, normally, historically, that meant she was a lesbian.
Probably had a roommate or two.
Probably did have a roommate or two.
They were roommates!
They were roommates! But also, I could not find an exact age that she was when she died. It just said she was a spinster.
Yeah.
However, historically, if you were, say, 25 years old and unmarried, you were a spinster.
Yeah, she could have been in her,
So,
mid
this
to late 20s.
woman could have been in her fucking mid to late 20s, early 30s, and been just brutally fucking decapitated.
Yeah.
Because she was almost beheaded. You know, Nearly Headless Nick?
Yeah, it's basically her. Just
I'm
picture that.
Going back to Harry Potter. She was pretty much Nearly Headless Nick. And because of how horrific that was in, you know, little old North Coventry.
Yeah, this quiet, sleepy little town in Pennsylvania.
Where
this
part of it's
doesn't
called
happen.
Bucktown.
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 Because
Hey,
deer.
Nothing happens here except for an apartment building that caught on fire because of a meth lab.
Yeah.
You remember that in 2020?
Yeah, sometimes there's meth happening.
Nothing happens here like that.
No.
Except, well, I can't say never because it does. It's just people don't report on it. Because I don't know if you remember, but I think it was 2018, the body in the creek was found.
Yeah.
And no one knew who she was, where she came from. She was unidentified.
Was she the teacher?
No, they never identified her. The
Oh.
teacher's body was found too.
I was
but there
gonna
was
say, I know
another
where that
body.
was. Okay, there's another one.
So, bodies randomly show up here.
But they're, no one talks about
But
it.
no one talks about it
It's weird.
because, well, so there's the Bible Belt of the United States.
Yeah.
There's also the Bible Belt of PA.
Yeah, we have our own.
We're pretty fucking close to that.
Yeah.
Because if you go too far down 23 to Elverson, you're in the Bible Belt of PA.
Yeah.
And I say Bible Belt of PA, but it's more like a vertical strip. Because it's not horizontally across the state, it's vertically. And it goes from Elverson to somewhere in between Harrisburg and Lancaster.
Yeah.
Where that just area of land is full of the most Bible thumpiest motherfuckers. And you can quote me on that.
Bible thumping motherfucking
The Bible
fuckers.
thumpiest motherfuckers
that
you will ever find. And it's insane because, someone pointed it out to me years ago that from where they were staying in Lake City to where I went to college in Millersville, it was 2 roads away, and he passed 12 churches.
Wow.
So, less than 3 miles. 12 churches. And that is spread out throughout Elverson to somewhere between Lancaster and Harrisburg. But they're super fucking religious.
Yeah, and then if you go up and to the right, into Boyertown, you'll find the Ku Klux Klan.
That's true, Boyertown!
Yup.
So Boyertown is one of the headquarters for the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah.
And I think...
It's best to avoid that area.
Do they fall under my Bible Belt? It'd be
Over here.
north more.
Yeah, up and, to the right.
So it's not a belt.
It's like a...
It's like...
It's like a rectangle or a sad...
It's
acute
like
triangle.
Yeah, it's a weird, sad, acute triangle.
Yeah.
I say this, and we talked about this in a couple of the other episodes. I'm very devout in my faith.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Roman Catholic.
Yes.
But, even I can recognize that some of these people are fucking insane.
Yes.
I wouldn't associate with them if I was, a person. I am a person. I don't associate with them. I run away.
Yes, and I fully respect, even though I don't subscribe to it, I fully respect the Catholic faith, but, you got some nuts in there.
Oh, totally. I mean, I think, for starters, our Pope is a little batshit. So, spooky thing.
Yes.
There is there's lore in the Catholic faith that when St. Peter's Church no longer has space for a portrait of the Pope.
Yeah.
It's the apocalypse.
Huh.
So in St. Peter's Church, so when you look up toward the ceiling, around like the molding of the ceiling, where the wall meets the ceiling,
Yes.
there are portraits of every pope
Mm-hmm.
lined up and surrounding the church. We are almost at the last pope.
Uh-oh. How many more do you think we have, if you had a guesstimate?
So before the current pope, they estimated 2. So we have him and one last pope before apparently Apocalypse Now happens and the fucking world ends. Revelation comes to be.
Revelations.
The 7-headed beast, the whore who sits upon the 7-headed beast, which...
It's me. No,
That's
just kidding.
Well, according to that crazy fucking pastor at Monco, it's me. Do you remember? Do you remember that shit?
No!
Took a shot for this story.
Woo!
I don't care if you leave this in because I think it's hilarious.
Tell me.
So, how to start? So, when I was a wee young Montgomery County Community College student, I had a very distinctive style of dress.
Uh-huh.
You remember my fishnets?
Indeed.
Yes. So I would wear fishnets with short shorts and corsets and
I love it.
other such tops.
We love it.
We love it. You know, combat boots, heels, all of it. Needless to say is I dressed a little bit scandalously for our more religious individuals. But also I was a founding member of Montgomery County Community College's West Campus's theater club. I founded and named WEST, which is the West End Student Theater.
Ooh.
It's an acronym. See what I did there?
Fun fact.
Yeah. And plug for them. They're still fabulous. Go see their shows. So one of our first shows was a student-directed play festival.
Yes.
And I was one of the directors. I directed a play called Love Letter 97. And I don't remember who the author was.
Okay.
Or who the playwright, rather, was. But it was a play about a man who was cheating on his wife, whose name was Mary, with a prostitute whose name was Mary. And it was this really weird secular thing of him taking his aggressive bad thoughts out on the prostitute Mary instead of on his wife.
Oh.
But while writing his wife a love letter.
Weird.
It was very...
range of emotions.
Very meta. Very weird.
Yes.
So, but to do that, I had to have the one actress who was the prostitute dressed like a prostitute.
Uh-huh.
On stage.
Okay.
So and I dressed how I dressed.
Right.
Which, on that specific day, was a miniskirt, corset, fishnets with thigh highs over the fishnets.
Nice.
And boot heels.
Very cute, very
I
fashionable.
was very cute. Had one of those bullet belts that wasn't actually needed. It was just aesthetically pleasing.
Just an accessory. It didn't really hold anything up.
Not at all. It was so far lower than my hips. It didn't do jack shit.
I can relate.
But it held up the chains, so I guess it did a job.
Okay.
So we were doing a play practice right before we opened. Doing like a tech run through. And during a break, it was my cast, myself, some of the crew, and a couple of the other casts were hanging out in the cafeteria. And you remember the cafeteria. Like, there were, like, couch sections.
Yes.
Where you, like, before they renovated, you know how they just had the couches along the one side of the wall?
Yes, I believe so.
We had taken over that section.
Okay.
And it was because there were only, like, 2.5 couches. Like, it was 2 couches and a love seat.
Yeah.
The theater kids, and this is still true for any theater kid, we are very physically affectionate with one another. We were physically close. We were sitting on top of each other. Like, I was fully sitting in someone's lap. My legs were on other people. My upper half was, like, on other people.
Sounds pretty on brand.
It was definitely on brand for theater. But, like, I was fully on top of people. But also, who met in the cafeteria was the faith-based club. I forget what they were. I think they were called Thrive.
Oh, fun.
And they were in the cafeteria that day. And it was like a pastor and a couple of students. So, and we could see them like looking at us and like whispering and then looking at us. But we didn't give 2 fucking shits because
you out here living your life.
The mindset of all of these theater people was one of this is our place. Because we would meet in the cafeteria. We would sit on the couches. We would all lounge about like we were.
It's your territory.
Like, this was our territory. This was where we were.
You guys are the fish out of water here.
Yeah. So one of the students comes over, and motherfucker is wearing a suit.
The audacity in a community college.
I remember this so distinctly because it was like a khaki suit. It was like a tan suit.
Oh, it wasn't even a...
It was a tan suit with a like bright blue shirt and a blue tie. I just remember that so distinctly. And he handed us all little cards. And the one side of the card was a smiley face. And on the other side was 10 reasons why you're going to hell.
Oh, cute. That's a great way to make a first impression.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Now it's
Hello.
It's important to note that this theater group was comprised of 2 groups of people. Very, very, very devout Christians of some sort or some variety, ranging from Catholic to born-again Baptist, and very, very, very devout atheists
all coming together.
who knew their shit.
Yay.
And the beautiful thing is that because we were all well-educated and we had these open, non-biased conversations, we respected the fuck out of one another.
Yes.
And, like, it was this beautiful union of I respect your beliefs, you respect mine. We never crossed those boundaries with one another, and we protect and defend one another.
Yes, because you have that open dialogue, and you're not just, like, coming at you aggressively, like, this is what I believe, and obviously what you believe is not something I subscribe to, so this is why you're going to hell.
Exactly.
And that's their first impression.
And that was the first impression. But no, like, the original Westies, I hold them in such a special place in my heart. The Westies now today, too, I still hold them in a special place in my heart because thank you for continuing the thing I started. But it's those original Westies. We, as a group, understood one another in such a beautiful way. And I can't speak more highly of these people. So when this guy came and gave us cards that said we were all going to hell, half of us were, and I will say I was fully in this group, were laughing. Because we couldn't take it seriously. How could you? Like, I'm dressed as a fucking prostitute. There's another woman under me dressed as a prostitute stroking my leg.
Under me.
I'm sitting on a guy's lap. Like, it was so far out of the realm of things that we, like, could have imagined happening that night.
Yeah.
Like, we had someone coming up to tell us that we were going to hell.
Hello, who are you?
And he started talking to us. And he, like, was asking questions about the Bible. And, like, biblically based questions that some of us were able to answer him. And he was getting frustrated. Because, again, I'm very devout.
Yeah.
I not only went through the whole, like, Bible school shit, Bible study shit, CCD nonsense, but, like, I had people with me who would also, and who knew the Bible front to back, who were able to quote scripture to this kid, and him just getting flustered. And then, and some of the people who were able to quote scripture were atheists. Like, one of the women's names was and she's a witch. She's a Wiccan. But she was able to quote scripture, and it was flustering him because I dressed like a prostitute, and I will say that fully. I had fishnets, thigh highs, mini skirt, and a corset on.
Ay.
This bitch over here,
tell me,
was dressed to the fucking T as a Wiccan.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Like, pentagram and everything. Yep. If you imagine a hipster Wiccan, you have imagined this person.
Done.
Like, I love her to pieces, but back then, stereotypical.
I think that's amazing, though, that she subscribes to her faith, but she still is knowledgeable in...
Exactly. And others.
Yes.
Because it was because we would talk.
We would
have these conversations, and, like, I didn't gain as much from her as I think she did from our conversations. Yes. Because, again, she was able to quote scripture, and I know jack shit about the Wiccan faith. But that was also because, like, when we would talk, it would be more about Christianity. Right. And, like, the why of Christianity and why I believed what I believed. And it was her challenging me, and it was very healthy and good for me. Anyways, have healthy conversations about your fucking faiths, guys.
It's not gonna kill you.
It's not. It'll help, I promise.
Very healthy to question things sometimes.
It is. So, we're able to quote scripture to him.
Right.
It flusters him. Finally, he gets like frustrated, and one of the people showing him like a little bit of sympathy was the guy whose lap I was sitting on.
He said, if I may chime in with these two prostitutes above my loins.
I was sitting on his lap. Our friend that you know was sitting next to him.
Yes.
Thighs touching. I'm on his lap. Whole 9 yards.
Touching hands.
And this kid looks at me first and asks, do I ever have impure thoughts? Now, in any form of Christian faith, an impure thought can range from
That's a big list.
murder to sex.
Mm-hmm. Everything in between.
Everything in between. So, of course, I was like, yes, because I was having an honest conversation. I was going to be like, never. I would never do that as I sit on these people's laps and have my legs stroked.
You're fucking human. Of
I'm
course
human.
you do.
And he goes, you're going to hell. And then he looks at the guy whose lap I'm sitting on and goes, do you ever have impure thoughts? And I shit you not, this guy looks down at my chest. To which, again, corset, so cleavage is happening. Looks down at my chest, looks back at him, back down at my chest, and goes, yes.
He's like, I'm having an impure thought right now.
And the guy, instead of telling him what he told me of you're going to hell, says, you need to stop.
No.
So, and it continues. And the guy finally goes, well, I wanna share my salvation story with you guys.
Oh God, tell me. Did you get drunk on your dad's boat and crash it?
Oh, better. So much better.
Okay.
His salvation story was, and I am paraphrasing a little bit, one day me and my best friend got stoned. And
You can't see it, but my eyes are rolling into the back of my head.
And this part I'm not paraphrasing because I remember this shit for word. And he left to go make a snack. And I was left alone with my thoughts while high. And I thought, if he comes back with popcorn, God is real. And then he came back with popcorn.
And so that's why he now wears tacky khaki suits and judges people in fishnets in a community college lunchroom. Okay.
Yeah.
Honey.
So, even telling this story, as you can just tell from that, I could not contain myself. And I was not the only one in this group of people. I lost my shit laughing.
Honey, you haven't seen God yet.
I
Take like an entire strip of acid and then come back to me in like 20 minutes and tell me how you feel and if you've seen God.
Yeah. Thank you. I was laughing. I burst out laughing. I forget what exactly transpired, but he got so offended by us laughing that he started to, like, biblically curse us out.
Fire and brimstone type deal.
Fire and brimstone came out. At that point, me and 3 other people stood up. So I got off my friend's laps, stood up, and we're like, are you fucking serious? Leave us the fuck. Like, we all, the 3 of us, and it was me, another Christian gentleman, and the Wiccan, finally had enough.
The trifecta.
The trifecta. We got up and we were like, are you fucking kidding us? Get the fuck out of our space. What the fuck is wrong with you? And we were like, just all of us simultaneously screaming at this guy.
That is the power of religion.
That is the power of friendship.
That is the power of God.
That is the power of God and friendship, okay?
God is in the power of friendship.
I lost my shit because I was so done. At that point, I'm like, you're offending everyone. So he leaves and goes back over to the pastor, who has heard us screaming and cussing at him.
Good.
But he didn't hear the conversations beforehand. Just the us screaming and cussing. And he comes over.
Oh boy.
The pastor. And now, as a visual, this pastor is a heavier set, 6-foot-something man. Balding, with long hair.
Okay.
With a wizard-like beard. Wearing flip-flops and a Hawaiian shirt.
Cute.
Now, mind you, motherfucker number 1 came over in a khaki suit. So all
Someone
credibility has been lost already.
Someone I'm gonna take seriously.
But he starts fire and brimstoning so fucking loudly and hard that we all were... Like, I'm sorry, but when a 6-foot-something man comes and starts screaming at me...
A bunch of kids.
I'm gonna, like, back down. I don't know. At the time, I was, like, 5'0"
It's scary.
And I'm little now. I was littler then.
Yeah, but like...
But one of the things that he says is that, well, the friend dressed like a prostitute and I are dressed like harlots.
You have eyes. Congratulations.
And that we are Beelzebub's whores. Security finally fucking comes and drags this asshole away. And we're all a little bit shooketh. But he leaves. And we don't think anything of it until... So Dr. Johnson was a very young professor at Monco who had just gotten his doctorates, had just gotten married. His wife just found out he was pregnant. He was in his early 30s and had a freak aneurysm and passed away.
Oh.
But he was so big in our community and he had such a huge impact on students that the entire community was heartbroken.
I mean, yeah.
Like, his wife was pregnant.
That's awful.
New wife.
Traumatic.
He had just gotten his doctorates. He had just reached all of these milestones in life.
All set up and then to just...
in his sleep one night in a freak thing.
That's
pass.
Horrible.
It was horrific. So the president of the Thrive Club knew that I am a member of faith and knew that a lot of the theater kids had a personal relationship with Dr. Johnson. And I was one of them. So she offered me the opportunity to bring some of the members of faith to a Thrive meeting where they were going to have a memorial of sorts for Dr. Johnson. And I said, you know, if other people in the club want to go, absolutely. We're doing it. We go. And who but the motherfucking Hawaiian shirt pastor is there.
This fucking guy.
And we sit in a circle, and she invites people in a circle going clockwise. And I'm sitting counterclockwise from her to say something about Dr. Johnson, to pray, to do anything that, quote unquote, the spirit calls you to do.
Right.
Very, very Christian thing. And some people were saying some really beautiful things about Dr. Johnson. And then it gets to Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, good old Hawaiian shirt.
And this motherfucker, while making direct eye contact with me,
still got a vendetta,
starts talking about how some people in the room need to be saved.
This is not the time, Hawaiian shirt man.
So my emotions are already heightened because I lost someone that I considered a friend.
Yeah.
Because he was a history professor. My undergrad is anthropology history and archaeology. So he was someone that I contacted and interacted with on a regular basis. Him and Jarvis were very close with me. And this motherfucker was taking this opportunity to say that some people needed to be saved.
To talk about your corset and fishnets.
To talk about my corset and fishnets.
Sitting on people's laps.
And sitting on people's laps, drawing them to sin. So I got mad. And when it came to me...
Oh dear.
I want to express the fact that I'm a devout Catholic. And I do not believe anything that I said. I think the spirit came over me and took vengeance for me, is what I think happened.
They said, step aside, we have this.
I'm told that I started my prayer off by saying something along the lines of, Dear Father, Satan. And then I prayed to the devil. And like, shit like, take this child into your fiery embrace came out of my mouth just to fuck with this guy. And now, I say this 10 years ago, 18-year-old me was a fucking asshole. She was a bitch. I love her. But I prayed to the devil for apparently a solid minute and a half. And apparently this man just turned 50 Shades of White.
Was not expecting that.
Could not handle what I did. And after I was done, I was like, Amen. And I left.
Went down like several octaves.
Several. And like, all of the theater people who wanted to be at this event, like, followed me out going, Lena just lost her fucking
We
mind.
need to make sure she's
We need
okay.
to we need to double check this person. And I'm like, I'm so mad. And I'm walking to my car, which at the time was a 1996 cherry red Dodge Durango
Cherry bomb.
with the license plate that had 666 in it.
Oh my god.
The man followed me out and said, "Lo."
He said low.
He said,
Okay.
"Lo. The whore who rides the seven-headed beast mounts the Satan-mobile."
Wow. I need that on a t-shirt right now.
He named my car. I had just, my dad had just given me the keys to that thing. I had just gotten the car. We were calling her Big Red, but she became the Satan-mobile like fucking that, man.
I love it.
So he said, "Lo, the whore that rides the seven-headed beast mounts the Satan-mobile."
Oh my god, I need it on a t-shirt.
And I remember just getting in my car, turning the loud screamo music up, and flipping them off as I drove slowly out of the parking lot because I still obeyed traffic laws.
Fuck you, there's a red light.
And then from then on, every time we saw them in the cafeteria, I forget the comedian's name, but he would sing, he's a singing comedian, and he did a song called "My Name is Satan."
Oh, Stephen
Woohoo!
Lynch.
Yeah, I would
Yep.
play that song.
I'm familiar with it.
I would play that song and I would blast it.
That's beautiful. What a beautiful story.
We got very off tangent there, but it's a story that we can share.
Well worth it, because I think there's a valuable lesson in there in that, like, people like him, they are Satan, but people like you and your group coming together from different religions and different factions.
Yeah, it was so
And-
beautiful.
Yeah, congregating in, like, what could be described as light and positivity and love. That's God. That's holiness to me.
No, and to me too, like, I'm a very strong advocate for the interfaith community. And advocate for people having those open and honest communications about their beliefs and their faiths. And I wish more people would.
Yes. Yeah, I think we're heading towards that now, especially with the internet.
I think we are. I think we're in a good place.
More ways to communicate.
We have gone on a fucking weird roundabout story here.
This is also an existential podcast.
We are having a time, man. I've moved far away from friends and family. This is the most interaction with someone who knows me that I've ever had in a solid 8 days.
Okay. But
All
now.
right. It's 11:30.
Whoops. So then, I guess we can backpedal a little bit.
You're sober later gonna edit this and be like, what the fuck is wrong with us?
Alright, so backpedaling to Hannah's murder.
Hannah's murder. Oh my
When,
god, we haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah,
Oh,
I just
shit.
mentioned that she got her head almost chopped off.
Nearly headless neck.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you're editing, you just look for the nearly headless neck at the beginning and then that nearly headless neck
This
at
is where it fell off the rails. Okay. Here we go. In 1879, the Pottstown paper ran the following related story. Since the mysterious shingle tragedy, at various times, many persons have declared that they have seen a spirit or unearthly object which answers her description at a brook which crosses the road leading from Schenkel Church to L.L. Backman's store. One Saturday evening, late as Montgomery Campbell, or I think that's supposed to be Mr.
Probably.
Mountain Montgomery Campbell was returning from J. Bush's cider mill at about 9 o'clock. To his astonishment, he saw the spook of which he had so often heard but never seen.
Spook. So wait. It was a cider mill?
Yes.
Oh,
he was
motherfucker was
probably
drunk.
fucking wasted.
He was lit. Yo.
Mr. Campbell was not scared. That's why they call it liquid courage.
Yeah, that's true.
But immediately stopped his horse for the purpose of interviewing the object, which he declares was white as snow, 4 feet high, and about 3 feet wide. Let's just picture that for a second.
Not the 3 feet wide, but was that you?
Listen. Yeah, it was me because I was lying horizontally, and that's why he thought I was very wide. And I just had one leg up in the air.
Just one leg in the air was with the width.
Accounted for the height. Hello, stranger. And this is where I was. It goes on to say, it was mounted on a fence, and no head or limbs were apparent. Mr. Campbell propounded several questions to the intruder, but received no answer, so he drove on. Probably because it didn't have a head, Mr. Campbell. He's talking to a bush.
No, he was talking to, like, a garbage bag attached to a fence.
Attached to a turtle.
Attached to a turtle.
Crossing the street. And then he says, after seeing the spook with my own eyes, says Mr. Campbell, I am now convinced there is such a thing, and matter what others say, I am going to stick to that opinion. So drunk and stubborn.
I mean, kudos, dude. I'm drunk and stubborn too. Bullheadedness gets you far in life. I promise.
And then I have one more spooky story on the area.
I want to hear the spooky story.
Okay.
For it.
So in 1973, so that's about what, almost 100 years later after Mr. Campbell saw the spook.
Yeah, about.
Lorraine Warren, who supposedly knew nothing of the history or the details of Hannah's death, visited the area accompanied by W. Edmonds Clausen, who wrote an article about it in the Pottstown Mercury.
Now, do we actually believe that Lorraine Warren didn't know jack shit about that?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Because, like, trust me, I love me some Warren drama.
Mm-hmm.
Because, movies were made. I think they're fascinating human beings. Yeah. Or were fascinating human beings while they were still on this earth.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. And, like, I do believe that she had some sort of gift.
Yeah.
However, Hannah's death was so widely published and talked about.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that she didn't know anything about it.
While they didn't have Google, they did have libraries.
Yes. If she's going to this place because they lived in Connecticut, right? Yeah, if she's going to this place, like, I don't know, I feel like she's gotta hear something about it.
I feel like she had to have known. I feel like it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, she knew at least a little bit.
Well, here is what the article says from the Pottstown Mercury. It's pretty short. It's short enough, so I'm just going to read you verbatim the whole thing.
I love it.
So it is called Vibrations Still Alive of Shingle Tragedy. And it's written by the person she was accompanied with, Mr. Edmund. He was an area historian, it says. So, as the door of the ancient spring house on the Shingle property opened and Edith Lorraine Warren stepped out, I stood extremely close to her. She wore what I read to be definite relief on her petite, delicate features. She had not enjoyed her few moments alone inside the spring house. It was cold inside, a coldness that came not only from dampness, but a coldness that ran around your insides. It had to do with the supernatural. So I think this is a quote from Lorraine. I get a picture of this unfortunate woman, Hannah Shingle, as having a mannish figure, straight, stocky, strong. Okay. Brown hair hanging straight down, no features. There are no features that I can distinguish in her face. I only get an impression of this strong, mannish body. Lorraine. Mrs. Warren spoke in answer to a direct question I asked. Do you sense death in the spring house? I once again asked. Mrs. Warren shook her head. No, her killing did not take place in that room. That was used for other purposes. I stood very close to Mrs. Warren, trying my best to interpret the faintest change of expression, seeking, if possible, to read the slightest interpretation of our story of the long-ago murdered Hannah Shingle from any possible loose vibrations. No, that room in there was used for orgies. I sensed long ago orgies taking place there. Rituals.
Yo!
Black art. Witchcraft. Perhaps a love cult or pact. The place was once the scene of sex orgies.
Free love was a sex cult. You're gonna have a hell of a time editing this. No, but see, and that makes sense because Hannah's murder weapon, the weapon that murdered Hannah, which apparently was hers, was one of the battle axes.
And if you've driven past her house, she has a lot of property, so and she was right across the street from the Shankle Church, so it makes sense that she's like, I'm gonna host. This party.
They would run up and down Shankle's aisles naked.
So Mr. Ed goes on to say, I too had sensed something not exactly healthy within the ancient spring house, though I have not the adeptness nor knowledge of how to interpret my own vague sensations. You're doing a pretty good job here.
Yeah, bro.
In order for a woman such as Mrs. Warren, gifted with a sense of clairvoyancy, to receive true impressions undiluted by the presence of other persons, she goes into the room or through the house entirely by herself, pausing at each point where vibrations from the past reach her. The happenings of the house, or of a building, the emotions, the dramas, and the conflicts and happiness of life never leave those walls. A person so gifted as Mrs. Warren of the husband and wife team of New England's ghost hunting couple may be able to reconstruct to some measure just what had taken place within the chambers. But tell me about the beheading of Hannah Shingle, I begged. What impressions do you receive from the main Shingle house itself? That's where the murder took place. I could feel it at the head of the stairway. I felt it in my throat. My hands automatically reached up to my throat. Someone standing there had long ago been gasping for breath. Hannah Shingle, I informed her quietly, was beheaded. That's probably why you fail to see her features in her face. A man came in at night to rob her house. He took her axe, with which she had tried to defend herself, and battered in her head. Mrs. Warren nodded with a sad sort of sigh. It seemed to me as though the haunting had suddenly clarified in her own mind. Before she entered the house, she had requested not to be told any circumstances nor any speculation of Chester County's tragedy, which for so long had shaken the people of the Shankle Church area. At my request, all of us strolled down the lane past the ancient building that once had served as the general store. Walked along the road until it crossed a small bridge spanning the stream that originated in the cellar of the one-time Shingle Spring House. Here, Hannah's spirit had been observed one night in 1879 by a local resident returning from the store in his carriage. Now, what type of vibrations lingered here in the outdoors at this rural spot? Nothing, murmured Mrs. Warren. Nothing at all except serenity, peace, quiet. I sense this murdered woman returned here after being assaulted merely to find peace. She could not very well return to the violence of the house after her murder.
And that's cool. But it also, to me, that sounds like, not to discredit Elizabeth Warren, or Lorraine Warren.
Mm-hmm.
Edie Warren.
Yes.
It sounds like she knew what had happened.
Yeah.
Because some of what she said, per that article, is quote for quote in the historical record of what happened.
Yeah. And it was something that was very prominent in the area, and it
was well known.
Yeah, she could only really kind of give details of what
was known.
Was known, not like any details of the murderer.
Like, it was well known that that Helen had a battle axe for her protection.
And that her head was nearly severed.
So, and the pieces that Warren picks up on are just happen to be the pieces that were published widely and talked about widely.
Yeah, so it's hard to say how legitimate that claim is, but yeah, I think we can safely say that Hannah was definitely part of the participated quite frequently.
Oh, 100%. And I'm not surprised by that. It, to me, sure, maybe on some level, Lorraine saying, oh, P.S., this well house was used, or spring house was used as a fornication site.
Yeah.
Would have been jaw-dropping during the day. But looking back at all of the history, you made a shot in the fucking dark.
Yeah, and she kind of
based off a hunch that most people already fucking had.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, Gates kept records of what all happened, so I mean...
Yeah, Gates kept very detailed, again, journaled about every little fucking minute detail of things that happened, and then published them.
I was gonna say, if they were published, then, like...
Motherfucker was like, everyone should know my shit. And before Facebook was a thing, blasted that shit out in the only way he knew how. So I'm 100% not shocked that she was able to be like, there was an orgy here.
Yeah, and then just kind of sprinkled in some witchcraft and black magic for pizzazz.
Yeah, exactly. To me, it sounds a little bit staged.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that because I want this shit to be real.
I know.
But the scholar skeptic in me goes, no, not.
At least
not credible.
At least not in this case. It's kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
I think you can do tours of the area.
You can. I do know that you can do tours. And even just, hate to say it like this, but North Coventry is not a large area.
No.
You drive through, quote-unquote, North Coventry. Over 75% of the land that you see at one point or another had Battle Axe members there.
Probably fucking in the grass.
Not big.
It's really not that big.
It's really not, and it's mostly woods and back roads.
Old
farmhouses. A lot of old historical farmhouses that were definitely at one point the site of something Battle Axe related happening. Because, it is important to note that the cult never had more than 35 members at a time.
Yeah, it was relatively small as far as cults go.
It was pretty small. And people did rotate in and out based off of... I'm going to say based off of, like, sexual desires and sexual needs, and those competing with emotional and mental needs.
Right.
And needs to fit into society. Needs to feel fulfilled in other manners other than sexually. It was a constant influx and outflux of people. High turnover rate. And... quote unquote, Bill Gates.
Yeah, he was there. It was a good time.
Theo Gates left because of excess. One can only imagine an excess of what?
He just got tired.
He
got
done. He was like, motherfuckers, I can't hump anymore. I'm out.
I'm shooting blanks at this point. I'm chafing. But no, yeah, I almost hesitate to call it a cult, too, because, I mean, like...
They did have... There's not... I don't have a copy of Battle Axe to quote for you their philosophical and religious beliefs. But there was a religious aspect to it. They genuinely did believe that God called them to
do what
be
they wanted
sexually promiscuous.
Yeah, that whole thing is just like something they could relate it to at the time because they didn't have the vocabulary like we might have
today.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they did not at all.
So in that case, it does kind of remind me of polyamory, or polygamy, where they're not like, they don't want to be with just one person. So,
they have multiple relationships.
Yeah, and they all seemed very happy with it, and treated each other pretty equally as far as I could tell.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would love to read the actual pamphlet, the actual book that Gates published for their beliefs.
Yes, I would love more perspective on
But as far as what I could find, he was open-minded, he was supportive of sexual liberation.
Yes.
And I mean, before his time, but he pretty much like hosted a very long Woodstock.
Yeah, pretty much.
They would fuck freely and often, and sometimes in lakes near your mom's house.
Comforting.
But that's what we have for this episode.
Yes. Before we go, I just wanted to give another fun fact.
I love the fun facts.
Well, besides this one, I know I mentioned it in last week's episode that Britton Lodge brings up Free Love Valley a lot.
Ooh,
and
no, I saw
shows.
This too.
Yeah, they put on shows at the lodge because it's so close.
Yeah.
So they give them a little shout out every year. So yeah, by the time this comes out, they should be, like, kind of putting on shows now, I think.
getting ready for it.
So check that out. And then, fun fact about Gates. So he was actually thrown in prison in the old Arch Street prison in Philly for debt. And we remember that from our second episode, that was a thing. And he actually gained notoriety for his public plea in which he attacked the practice of jailing debtors. So we may have Gates to thank for putting an end to that.
Yay.
But he also tried to fly off a building using roof shingles and fell on his fucking face, so, like... I don't know how much credit I want to give him.
I've tried to fly, but I was also, 4 at the time, and I jumped off of a play chest, like a toy box, instead of, an actual fucking building.
Some of his ideas were good, not all of them great.
He had an incredibly progressive view on sex.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I feel like you gotta be a little unhinged in order to make strides like that.
That's true. You do. You have to be a little bit unhinged, but not jump off a building because I can fly unhinged.
With roof shingles.
Not with roof shingles. That's the line. I didn't know where it was before tonight, but we found it.
There it is.
There it is. If you try and jump off a roof with roof shingles as your wings, you're batshit. Congratulations. So this episode, we are at, holy shit, we're at 3 hours right now.
How did that happen?
Straight. I have no clue.
Spooky season!
It's spooky season! We'll create a whole jingle for it. It'll be like, it's spooky season. Do 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 do.
I had to keep a beat for you.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Okay, we'll workshop it.
We'll workshop it. We're gonna record tomorrow too.
Yes. All right. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
Send us your stories. We want to read them.
Please. Yes. So if you want your story read on the show, send us your ghost encounters, UFO sightings, and even true crime stories to passmethebooze@gmail.com with the subject title bonus booze. Or if you visit our website at passmethebooze.com/submit. It is live. Our website is live.
I cannot tell you
Pumped.
the amount of anxiety that I had leading up to this, and I still have a lot of anxiety.
Oh, same.
Because our first episode isn't out yet.
No. And, I think we started off rocky today because it's been a bit since we've recorded.
Yeah.
And our first 3 episodes are going to be interesting.
Interesting indeed.
Because our first episode, we didn't have fucking footing underneath of us. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
No, it's a little
rough.
Yeah, a little rigid.
It's rough.
But, as it goes on, we'll catch our stride and...
We went from episode 1 being rigid to episode 2 and 3 us getting fucking shit-faced.
Whee!
And going completely on the opposite end of the spectrum and lost all form.
And now we're talking about God and death.
And now we're talking about God.
The universe as a whole.
That's what happens when we talk about cults. But I hope you enjoyed all of our tangents and dysfunctionality.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Be sure to follow us on our socials at passmethebooze, spelled BOOS. We're going to try and post regularly with previews to upcoming episodes, as well as our drinks of the week. If you partake in the drink of the week while listening to our episodes, please tag us. We'd love to see it.
We also want to start reading some of your stories at the end of each episode, so if you have a scary story that you'd like to share, you can send that to passmethebooze@gmail.com with the subject title bonus booze. Again, that's BOOS. These can be anything from personal ghost stories, UFO or cryptid sightings, even true crime. We want to hear it all. We also welcome drink suggestions, so if you're a bartender, hit us up, or just a boozy aficionado. Lastly, please consider giving us a nice rating wherever you might get your podcasts.
It really helps us out in the rankings and will allow us to keep making the show and making it even better.
And tell your friends, tell your families, tell your dog.
We have some really big plans for the podcast, and we would love to be able to make that happen for you all.
And I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Bye!